Hello, everybody. It's Jeff with the American Mindgrind. I'm here with Jessica Wood. Jessica.
Hello.
And Eric Roth. Hey, Eric.
What's up, Jeff?
We are quarantined, so we are doing this Facebook Live instead of here in the studio, but it should turn out just the same. We're going to talk about some of the things that are going on, of course, with the coronavirus. Let's talk about some of the conspiracy theories that are out there, and, of course, the negative effect that it's having on the stock market. And, we were talking the other day that there's actually some positives that are coming out of this whole mess. And whenever there's something bad in life, I always try to see the positive, say, hey, it's a good thing this bad thing happened, or these good things never would have. Jessica, I'm sure you have some positive light to shed on the situation.
Yeah, so first of all, let me say, excuse the outdoor noises, as I just don't want to be indoors right now. It's super beautiful day, and that's one of the positives. A lot of people are getting outside. They're exercising. They're spending more time with friends and family. They're catching up on cleaning out their house and doing a little spring cleaning. I just feel like a lot of people are dwelling on it, which it is pretty scary. And I'm not trying to be glib or anything like that, or I'm trying to, submiss any of the fears. But I think some of the positives are what we need to start focusing on, and that's just really like spending more time with family or whoever you're quarantined with. Maybe reading a good book, catching up on some shows. People are actually being helpful to their neighbors, and just being more positive and more kind. And I think that's something we've needed really recently, especially with all the political stuff going on, just people being kind to one another and really, showing that they care. And obviously I've seen so many different, memes and articles and stuff like that saying that the earth is healing, not so many cars on the road, not so many emissions in the atmosphere. And there's dolphins swimming in Italy, up to the city and everything like that. So I think those are great positives to start off with. And I think we should all just try and focus on that before getting too wrapped up in the negatives.
Yeah, I agree. How about you, Eric? You have some positive takes on what's happened?
Oh, yeah, of course, man. You work your whole life just to have the opportunity to have time with your family, right? So you're working, and you keep dreaming about the time you're going to have with your family at the end of the day, ultimately. Well, I'm living it, yeah, it's under the craziest circumstances, certainly, but at the end of the day, Esma and I and Ethan have had dinner at home every night. We cook every night together. We have board games. We're still doing things online. I'll be doing dance with Esma next week with Arthur Murray online. We did a craft last night. We did a resin coaster set. We got the essentials for Esma, a lot of vodka, which is like coping juice to deal with me and Ethan and shit. But I'm not kidding you when I say this. We are currently spending probably collectively 95% of our time in our home, just because we've got a lot at stake in our family. We've got several immediate family members that have immune issues, deficiencies, I would say, certainly would be susceptible to this. My mom's 78 years old. My dad's 80. They're both alive. And the notion that people think that just because people are old, it's okay if they just die. Well, my folks have been taking care of themselves their whole lifetime. Why should they have their life cut at 80 years old when my dad could probably live healthy until his 90s? So, and then I have a nephew, he's only 2 years old. So we have to be real careful about social distancing, even with my immediate family. So it's been Esma, me, and Ethan, a lot of good times. We're getting to know each other, and getting in touch with each other a little bit. On our front at home, Esma's an educator, so the teachers are mobilizing right now, which is a huge thing in our house. Esma's getting ready to start teaching kids. She can only reach about 10 to 20% of them currently. So that's the positive in our household.
Crazy. Some of the positives for me, I got laundry done. My laundry.
I do that all the time.
There's no laundry pile.
Yeah.
And one of the positives for me that really hits home with me is this kind of really makes me appreciate our freedom that we have in this country. I think a lot of times we take it for granted that we can do what we want when we want, and we just spend our lives going and having fun and going to the bars and dancing, like you said, and just doing our routine. And when somebody throws a stick in that spoke, we don't like it as Americans. And I mean, I hate the word locked up. I think it's a scare word. We're not locked up. I went and played tennis yesterday. I can't walk now because of it, but I went to the park and I was able to hit the ball around a little bit. And like
we
said,
sorry to interrupt. Yeah, we've been taking Ethan out on his bike. We've been doing long walks, I mean, just in the immediate neighborhood, just to kind of keep limber and stuff like that. So we have taken time. That's the 5% of time we are out.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's not we're locked up, but we're told to stay home. We're quarantined. And, I mean, you use the word locked up. How do you think people in jail feel that, they don't get to leave their little cell except for to go to lunch break or whatever? Like, it's go outside for 15 minutes. Like, it really makes me appreciate our freedom and what this country really stands for. Being locked up for only not even a week yet.
Speaking of that, Jeff, this was just today's news that inmates over the age of 60 are going to be eligible to be immediately released. People that are on non-violent crimes are going to be up for immediate release, including drug possession, drug trafficking, drug distribution, trespassing even will be turned loose just to alleviate.
All states or
where everywhere?
Is
This is in like states like New York already looking at this. States like New Jersey, they already have confirmed cases in the jail, and social distancing can't be practiced in these facilities. So this was just on CNN. I was just listening to it before we came on, and it's a fresh idea. It's something that just people are kicking around right now, but that would be a perfect place for it to spread out of control. It would be catastrophic in those facilities.
So what you're saying is if me and my grandpa go rob a bank, if I just drive the car and grandpa robs the bank, they'll probably let him go?
Probably within a couple of days.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna put that one.
Okay, so what is your guys' take on this? Do you think that's – because I did see an article with one jail that did have it, and there was a few people in there that had it. But what do you think your take is on that? Do you think there'll be more crimes because of it? Or do you think those people will commit more crimes, or, what do you think? I know you said drug trafficking is a lot of them, stuff like that, but
that might be an essential need these days, though, Jess.
We don't have enough drug traffickers out to get through the crisis.
I would hire somebody to march down to that dispensary and go get our stuff for us, and our CBD, of course. Got to have the CBD, man. Whoever doesn't take CBD should probably take CBD at this time. It brings down inflammation, or eat a blueberry or some shit, to try to keep this thing away from you. Would you agree, Jeff, on that front?
Yeah, I haven't really gotten into it yet, but as long as it doesn't get you high and messed up in the brain, then and it helps with inflammation. Inflammation is kind of the devil, right? It's the cause of all the problems, and we'll save that for another show. But I do believe that there's a lot of other natural ways to reduce inflammation, like you said, the blueberries, strawberries, and whatnot. And my Thrive. So not to go down that road, but another thing that I'm appreciative of, one of the positives of, is I'm in a couple MLMs that that you do work from home and you do work from the computer, and we do have calls like we're having now. And
business as usual.
Yeah, and it's a weekly paid income on both of them. So I'm glad that I started that. I started one of them 5 years ago, and the travel one recently. So I'm thankful for that, and it makes me kind of look like this is the future. Everything's going online. Everything's going to what we're doing now. So I'm glad for that. It's one of the positives because we're seeing big numbers in what we're doing. But
I got one more positive I want to bring up, guys.
Yeah.
I've been able to spend time on the phone with people that I love and care about, not just immediate family, but my closest friends, including you guys. Certainly Jeff and I have been friends for 25 plus years now. So it's nice to have longer conversations and have the time, not have to jump off the phone because something's going on. So I've been able to reach out to people that, that I won't be able to see for a little while, that I'm used to seeing every week, including my coworkers at Noreen's, my boss, Sean, and the people that I care about in the world,
Yeah, and we've been wanting to film for a long time, and look, now here we are.
Absolutely.
I know.
Yeah.
And you and I did a little spin-off show, Jeff, like not too long ago, and I got so many responses asking, when are you going to do another one? When are you going to do another one? Obviously, Matt's not here with us today. He was supposed to be on the call, but unfortunately, you know, kids call, duty calls. But it is great to like literally be back here with you guys and talking and, you know, just discussing topics. And even in amidst of all of this chaos and everything else, we're back on here doing this. Just that's a positive. It's totally a positive.
That brings up a very important thing, guys. I would like to thank our first sponsor, Zoom, for upgrading us to a paid level so we can have 2 hours of free shit. For those of you who don't know, Zoom is awesome. It's supposed to be 45 minutes, you know, if you're not paying, and then it's up to 2 hours if you are paying. So they upgraded us for free, and we appreciate the time, and they're a wonderful idea. And not only is it being used for us, for our communications to catch up and talk about what's going on, but also for educators are really trying to rally and get some kids back in the classroom or a virtual classroom. I think, quite frankly, they should call the school year right now. Just call the school year and just get mobilized online and get these kids to continue to be accountable and students to get back engaged with their teachers. You know what I mean? It's a real important aspect of all this, I think.
I think it was kind of a wait and see. I think they're going to decide next week. There is progress. There is good news on it. The combination of those two drugs that I'm not going to try to attempt to pronounce is, from what I saw, 100%. They tested it. And
the malaria drug, right?
There's two drugs that they combined together. Yep. And within 5 days, all the subjects tested were completely cleared of the virus. I guess there's a mucus that gets up in your throat and you can't swallow, and you're almost drowning in your own mucus, as gross as that sounds. And so that helps clear the airways and lets the medicine go down and do what it needs to do. So they've kind of figured it out. China claims that they figured it out and that that's the case. They are claiming that there's no new cases in China. So for the first time since it started. So who knows? I mean, there's always do you trust China or not type conversation, but you know, there is some good news out there on it.
I think Italy currently is encouraging 2-person maximum on distance social interaction. That came out today. I'm pretty sure of it. Just 2 people now. You know how we're like 10 right now? They're at 2.
You can't have a party. You can't have a party of more than 2 people.
Yeah.
2-person party. That's it.
2-person party. Yeah, you can get a lot of parties done with crowd. Hey, man, it takes 2 to make a thing go right. You know what I'm saying?
Takes 2 to make it out of sight.
So at least you get to have human interaction. But yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Did you know, guys, that half of America, at the time that this was determined to be an emergency nationally, had only access to $400 or less liquid assets? And that's working folk.
Yeah, I remember we did a show.
I believe it.
We did a show previously that said that only, what was it, 65 or 75% of the people in this country had $1,000?
No, it's 70% of Americans do not have access to $1,000 is the stat, yes. Isn't that unbelievable?
Absolutely.
Sorry?
Unbelievable.
It's unbelievable to me. That's like an unbelievable stat.
It's pretty sad, but that is America right now. And I'm sure, I mean, we're still a pretty wealthy country considering, but if you realize how many people live beyond their means, they live paycheck to paycheck, first of all. Second of all, people are spending money on useless crap that they don't need. And a lot of it is obviously, you know, the government, the poverty, minimum wage. We've already talked about all of that too before in previous episodes, but that is something that's insane. And I think it's kind of something that we really need to start talking about in schools, educating people on just money and finances.
That's absolutely agreed. And Jeff and I had that conversation probably as long as 20 years ago. It'd be great to teach kids how to balance a checkbook, how to manage their
I mean,
funds.
who uses a checkbook anymore though, really?
Whatever. I'm fucking old. You know what I mean? I'm 47 now, Jess. I'm falling apart. Sorry about that, guys. Do the online banking thing, which I do. I don't use checks anymore. I graduated.
Yeah, I mean, I was taught that in middle school or high school how to balance a checkbook, but that was pretty much the extent. We didn't learn about interest rates, credit cards, loans, none of that stuff. So it is pretty scary thinking about all the people that are gonna either not have a job when all of this is over, or be poor or in poverty if they're not already. And that is definitely a scary aspect. And that's probably the thing that people are worried about the most, I would say, besides the virus. So I don't know. It's that is definitely a negative, but I don't know. What is your guys' opinion on that?
When this was determined to be an emergency, if people were going out and they were grabbing goods and food for their families. But what happens if you only had access to $20 or $30 and you're waiting for your next paycheck and then you were let go? You know what I mean? And how expensive it is here in town, as far as utilities and rent. I know very few people that have their own home or own their own home. They're always in like a roommate situation or scenario. It's very expensive. And the idea that people are working 40 hours a week full time all over the country, and they only are able to accumulate a very small amount of money that would only give themselves maybe a week's worth of cushion. That's just very disturbing to me. I was unaware of it until just recently, as much as I am now.
And part of the whole humbling thing that I was talking about is maybe we can learn lessons from this. And I've said it for a long, long time, Eric, that just the 9 to 5 doesn't cut it anymore. If you only have one source of income, the rate of inflation is going to kill you. You'll never catch up. If you don't have $1,000 in savings, if you don't have 3 months of bills and savings, then you need to do more and spend less.
3 months minimum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and the good, also the good, guys, and I like to concentrate on the good, is now we're aware that our infrastructure in this country is not able to take care of people the way they should. There's not enough hospital beds, ventilators. There's not a lot of things that once we set this up, if we come out the other side of this, then I think we'll be better for it and certainly more proactive and prepared for the next time something like this happens. Do you guys agree with that? Are you seeing this on your side?
100%.
I agree on the pandemic side, for sure. If there's some sort of catastrophic occurrence, then yes, I don't think it's we're set up for it at all. I know they were saying we have like 2.5 doctors per 1,000, whereas Italy had 4. So that's something that's kind of scary. But at the same point, we don't really no one's ever seen this kind of thing before, where we've had to have so many hospital beds, and we've had to have, so people set it up in the parking lots, stuff like that. So I'm not sure, obviously I think we're set up for certain things, but definitely not something catastrophic like this, where we're running out and doctors are having to deal with, all right, who is more likely to survive this? And we have to choose that person over someone in their, 80s or 70s or whatnot. So, yes and no, but for sure not a pandemic.
They should do paper, rock, scissors to see who gets
best of 3.
Best of 3 gets to stay.
Not all on one shot, right? Give them 3 shots.
Best of 3. Make it interesting.
Well, the thing is all the healthcare professionals, guys, they're like, look, stay. If I go to work, you guys stay home, and you have to be on that. My stepdad of 35 years, he passed in 2013. Dr. Dave, Jeff knows him well. He would have been on the front lines of this, man. And they don't even have protective masks. They don't have the even visors over their eyes in many cases. They're trying to get this emergency equipment just to the first responders and the people that are in this very toxic environment. So did you guys hear about the doctor in Italy who gave up a bed because he thought his symptoms of coronavirus weren't significant enough and lost his life? It was the first couple of days of this. It's crazy. Crazy story. He saved so many people and didn't take a bet himself because he kind of thought he would fight it off, and he died himself. Italy's a disaster area. My goodness.
Unfortunately, I've seen so many things like that, or heard about them, or read about them, and it's really sad. But I don't know. Some of the stuff, I don't know if it's fabricated. That I doubt is fabricated, but I feel like there might be some things where, do you think they're ever paying celebrities for some sort of endorsement? Or, you know, because there's so many people that are like, all right, I have it. And I've been seeing a lot of celebrities on social media, oh, I have the coronavirus, this and that, but they seem completely fine. And I'm not saying like Tom Hanks or Idris Elba or any of those, but it just seems like more and more occurrences. But, you know, if one of them doesn't die, then who knows? They're getting paid to say this. Which
I've seen a lot of the people that have had it, just normal people, that there's over 80,000 recovered now, right? And they say that they've had colds and flus that were worse. And some of them 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, some of them 2 weeks. So I think it all depends on your immune system and how, if you get it, how quick you can get rid of it. And, you know, it's a foreign substance to our body. It's a foreign virus that our body doesn't recognize. That's why even healthy people can get it. But then your immune system is tested after you get it to see how quick you can fight it. And, you know, going back on saving money for times of disaster like this and doing your best to do that, I think, and it's like, to me, Eric knows, my whole life I've preached it. It's like beating a dead horse, but you've got to stay healthy. You have to get your nutrients. You have to be strong. All we have is us, our body, our health. And, you know, all of a sudden everybody's concerned about eating apples as to where before they were just ordering pizza every night. So, you know, I think this is going to be a humbling experience for all of us.
Very true. Yeah, I agree.
An apple a day keeps the doctor away. An apple a day keeps the doctor away.
That's right. And going back on what Jess was saying, like we don't have the and what you guys were talking about, the infrastructure to house all of these people and do all of these things. And none of the politicians ever get up there and say this, because most of them are bought and paid for. They don't get up there and say, hey, if you want to solve the health crisis in this country, get the people healthy. You know, you want to talk about deaths? How many people died of diabetes yesterday, today, and tomorrow? 200,000, and nobody even bats an eyelash. Yet we're shut down our entire city for what, 6 deaths? What are we at, 10? Have we gone over 10 yet in Las Vegas?
That was pretty much the number, somewhere in that ballpark. 10 confirmed. Yeah.
What if they reported it that way? What if they said, ladies and gentlemen, here on the news today, 200,000 people died, and yesterday 200,000 died, and tomorrow we expect another 200,000 of diabetes, heart disease. Pizza Hut, McDonald's, Burger King is killing us, and they're killing the kids. The point is, oh nope, the number just went up, ladies and gentlemen. That we're over 212,000 now. And every state, let's put a dot in every state that somebody died of diabetes.
No. What they should do is put it on ESPN. Coronavirus 8 and diabetes 16.
Yeah, watch it every day. Watch the ticker go.
Well, let's not go there. I mean, obviously, you can't catch diabetes by licking somebody's face.
Yeah, that's the other fact of people are being a little insensitive because of that. And I totally agree with both of you. I really do think that, you know, there are bigger problems and a lot of more people die from other things, but this is something that it's not known, and it's obviously, you know, comes from a bat or whatever it is. But it's literally mutated into humans, and I read that there's 2 different strains right now, and and it mutates. So I think because the unknown is so vast that people are really scared of that, and it could mutate again. You know, it only happened 2 weeks after the first guy got it that it mutated. So that is scary, and I don't want to be insensitive to that. I am a little bit of a hypochondriac. So, you know, every day I wake up and I'm like, oh, I have a little heaviness on my chest, and
You're not rushing down to get tested yet, right?
But yeah, so I don't know, like I think, yeah, because it is so contagious. All right, I get the whole shutting down of the city and staying indoors and quarantining and everything like that, just because there's so much unknown to this virus.
You know, it's a time of also, like, I found it to be a bit of a time of reflection, you know. I have a question for both of you guys. I think a baseline question, if that's okay. May I? You remember, like, we used to bet on the Super Bowl when we did the show and stuff like that, and we bet sushi on it and this and that. Jess, do you think we come out the other side of this? And Jeff, do you think we come out the other side of this? Yes or no question. I think I know Jeff's answer.
Yeah, my answer is yeah, absolutely.
I thought so.
I mean, I've studied the virus a lot. It's a very weak virus. It's dangerous in certain ways of how it spreads. But, you know, I think once we go over 70 degrees, I think it'll be toast. I think it'll be history.
So what about all the people in Australia and Mexico and all the places where it's 90 right now?
What are their numbers compared to Italy?
I know it is much lower. I totally get that. It is much lower.
I think,
but it's just, go ahead.
I think they'll be able to cure this real quick, real easy. You know, our system, we have a system. We can't just throw it out there and say, hey, we think this is going to work. Let's load it up with 10,000 people. And then there's a side effect that the drug now kills them. So I'm confident in science winning over this battle. They always beat these viruses. I'm confident that God or the higher being or whatever you believe gave us what we need to get through this. I know a lot of people have not got the same immune systems, and it's very unfortunate. And it's not to belittle any of that, but I think a lot of this is scare tactic. We're a society that's about money, and all of the news channels, they want to scare you so you tune in tomorrow and see how scared we can be again tomorrow and how dramatic it is. I mean, our whole city shut down. At what point does the scare cause more damage than the disease is my question.
True. Yeah. It is definitely a mind teaser. I don't know what word I'm looking for, but a mind
that word.
Yeah. But I do think obviously we will come out on top of this. I think it might be around kind of like the flu, influenza, you know, it was back in the 1900s when it first surfaced. And, sure. You know, they tackled it pretty quickly, but I feel like it might be around for a while, maybe in a whole nother century. I don't know. What do you guys think?
It's funny, Jess, you said that because there was some scientists that said that this is a once in a 100-year event, what we're dealing with right now. And we're living it. We're living it. Vida loca. and coupled with the fact that I'm a dad and a parent, and that anxiety that you talk about is real. You know, that anxiety that you're referring to is real, especially if you don't have anyone else to converse with and stuff like that. It can take a toll on you, you know, paranoia sets in and stuff like that. We've been trying to stay productive and busy. You know, we're trying to kind of have kind of normal days, even though we're not leaving a small building, you know?
Yeah, it has really taken a toll on a few of my friends who live alone. Yeah. And I feel for them because if I was alone, I would probably, I mean, I do isolate myself in my bedroom most of the time, unless I'm out for a walk with my dogs. But honestly, if you don't have someone to talk to, like, it can really mess you up. And I was thinking about Castaway the other day and how he literally had to have volleyball, you know, to talk and communicate. And I feel like a lot of people don't have that, and it will drive them crazy.
When he lost Wilson in the movie, if you didn't shed a tear, I'm calling you a goddamn liar.
Oh, I bawled. Okay. Who did not cry? Yeah. Who did not cry on that?
Wilson. That was one of his best. Hey, when he came out with coronavirus, a couple of my buddies that I'm friendly with in the comic community here in town, they sent out their top 5 Tom Hanks movies. And, you know, obviously Forrest Gump, and then we saw Green Mile, and then Philadelphia was mentioned. certainly
Yeah,
saved by the body. What's your guys' favorite couple of movies on off topic? Just for a second, I guess.
Oh man.
What's your favorite?
You named pretty much all of them. Those are all really good. I also liked him in what was it, Big? Because it was kind of funny movie. Yeah, those are all really good. I mean, Tom Hanks is literally also Captain Phillips was really good.
That
He
was a
is
good movie.
just such an amazing actor, probably one of the greatest of our time. So anything he does, come on, it's
I have
always
a
good.
feeling when Tom and his wife got sick that they had access to a ventilator.
Yeah, they probably purchased one.
What did you say, Jeff?
They probably purchased one. So Zoom called, and they're not going to extend it. We got to be done here pretty soon at the 45-minute mark, but we got seven and a half minutes left.
Cool.
So what do you guys think about the conspiracy theories? You guys think China sent this out, or do you think it was bat poop soup?
Well, I got to show my dissatisfaction with Zoom, our first sponsor in this thing, right off the bat. The China thing, that's crazy, right? So many people think that, and is Trump really getting under his skin with talking about it as a Chinese virus and this and that? What are you thinking on that, Jeff?
Well, they tried to blame us for starting it, so he's calling it the Chinese virus because that's where it came from. But they don't like the trade agreement that we made them sign. We put sanctions on them, and Trump kind of outplayed them in the game of chess, if you will. And so the theory is that they already had the cure to this. By the way, they just announced that there's no new cases, like we talked about. They're done. Taking in people into the facilities on new cases. So the theory is that they already had the cure for it. China could stand to lose 1 million of their old and they're weak. They're way overpopulated, and they could send it out.
It's pretty terrible, though.
It's horrible, but China plays dirty, man. They eat bats and rats, and they burn dogs alive and crap like that.
Let me just say one thing that I want to bring out before we call it a day. The notion that they have control over our health products in regards to basic health needs and medicines, that has to stop if we come out on the other side of this. That has to be done in-house. We can never rely on a country for something like that. I can't believe that we've allowed that to happen. I'm blown away by it.
Is it like something like 90% of our life-saving drugs come from China?
Yes, that is correct. Now, how in the world do we ever have another country have that kind of leverage on us? That can't happen, man.
Yeah, that's
ask our last 4 presidents.
I kind of don't know if that's it. If that's everything about the conspiracy or whatever, because I did read an article, and who knows about these articles anymore? Like I don't believe half of them, but that we brought it over there, or someone was stopped, some sort of scientist was stopped at the airport from bringing the virus, something like that. Like it wasn't just made. I don't know. I heard it was made in a laboratory, that kind of stuff. Who really knows at this point?
Yeah.
Maybe we won't know. But I do agree on the having control over our own medicines. Definitely.
Yes.
I mean, 90% of our imports, I feel like, are from China. So
the one thing that really draws my attention to it is a couple months back, I was watching CPAC, and the guy who studies China was on there saying that that he has the leader on recording saying that they will take out the United States without ever firing a shot. And then
I heard something like that.
A couple of months later, we got the virus. And now with all those people that they have in China, you're going to tell me that Italy, small little Italy, has more cases than China? Something smells wrong. The math always tells the true story to me. So that's the only, I hate conspiracy theories. I'm not really on board with them all. You can make them all make sense. Like sun didn't come up today. It's the chemtrails, and you could always have something. You could always have a conspiracy theory, but it really draws my attention. They want to be the world power at any cost. So, but who knows, right? You never know.
Yeah, we'll never know. Well, we might.
It's important to always keep asking.
Before we go, also we should talk about Vegas, guys. What it's done to our town, certainly.
Yeah.
Jeff, you.
I mean, I should be out dancing right now, having fun and doing my thing. I really had my routine, man. I was very happy with my life the way it was. And we were coaching the Little League baseball team, and they ruined our opening day. Work, we lost 90% of our PEOs at work, and everybody's out of jobs now. And it's like, how long can this really go on before we completely go under? We're officially, Bank of America came out today and said we're officially in a recession. We were cruising and everything was good. And just
we're getting ready for the NFL season with the Raiders here and the stadium opening up. Garth Brooks, all that stuff. Vegas, for the most part, the Strip is in fact shut down. It's just dark. Yeah. I've had friends go out to the Strip and take a little video and post it to Facebook.
I can't even watch it anymore. It's so unreal to see the pictures and the videos of people driving down the Strip and just nothing there, and the casinos boarded up. It's sickening. And that's what my point was. At what point does the fear do more than the virus? And in Vegas, we're close.
We are definitely, I think it is necessary. With that being said, it is pretty scary seeing all of the casinos shut down, boarded up because of, looters or people that are gonna, try and break in. Stuff like that. So it is pretty scary. It's never been done, which is insane. I know the industry is losing a lot of money, but they do make a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
So I'm sure they can afford it, but we will bounce back. But hey, everyone go and buy a house in a couple months, right?
Get some 0% financing.
Everything's on sale. But the small businesses really get crushed. The big businesses will make it through. They won't bankrupt, but a lot of the small businesses will go bankrupt over this. If a lot of them already have, but
for sure.
It's pretty sad. But it is what it is. We'll get through it. We're strong. We have survival instincts, and we've come back from many, many things before. This is not the Black Plague. And like I said, Eric, so we'll put the over-under of August. I think by the end of August, this is a drop in the pan. It's history. But
I think you're right, Jeff. My initial number was about 45 days to 60. I think 30 is entirely too ambitious. You're not just going to be able to turn this thing on like a light switch when it's over. It's a disaster.
It took us 8 years to recover from 9/11.
Yeah, you're right about that.
All right, guys. So we're out of time. Thank you guys for joining us here today. We appreciate you watching. Give us all your feedback, and we'll do it again really soon, right, guys?
Absolutely. Sorry to see you guys under these circumstances, but it's great to talk to you guys again.
Yeah.
For sure.
Later, guys. Love you, man.
Take care. Be healthy.
Take care. You too.
Stay healthy.
Bye-bye.
Stay safe. Bye.
You too. Bye. We don't need 45.